Or no, or how long?
I don't see a Bennett. Did I not write that down?
Youngblood. There was two.
Youngblood. Yeah, I did not give a date. Okay. Let's give it 2 weeks and see if we can get her a placement. All right, Kirkland. So the court, we're here before the court for Mr. Kirkland. 1 second. This is on a motion to revoke bond.
Yeah, sure.
So, Mr. Kirkland, you're before the court on case 20. I miss you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You're before the court on case 2022CR07111 for Travis Terrell Kirkland. You were before this court on a battery, family violence, simple battery, and simple battery, family violence. There's a motion to revoke your bond at this time, and you're represented by Ms. Bond, who's here with you on the call. The state is asking that your bond be revoked, and they'll explain why in a moment. But let me explain. Ms. Hahn is representing you. She will ask questions of any witnesses brought by the state. You do not have to testify or give any evidence in this case. If you do testify or give evidence, I need to go over with you that you understand that you have a Fifth Amendment constitutional right against self-incrimination, meaning nobody can force you to testify. Hold on a second. I'm going to answer any questions in a moment. So you'll just remain silent while your attorney does the work on your behalf. And if you and your attorney have discussed you testifying, then at that time, I'll swear you in and I'll make sure that you understand that you do not have to testify. And if you do so, I have to be sure that you're doing so willingly and voluntarily. Do you understand that? Okay. Did you have a question for me about how this hearing is going to go?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going through a lot right now.
Okay, wait. I get that. But don't tell me what you're going through.
Mr. Kirkland?
Just let Ms. Hahn do her job, okay?
All right.
All right? I have great attorneys in this courtroom for the state and for the defense, so let her do her job, all right? All right. So this is the motion to revoke, and Ms. Janvier, does the state have witnesses to present at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Gabrielle Smith.
All right, Officer Smith, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true? Yes, ma'am. All right, Ms. Janvier, your witness.
Your Honor, before I begin with the question, may the state request that the court take judicial notice of the order for bond?
All right, Ms. Hahn, any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
Order for bond was entered by the judge of the magistrate court. Is that correct, Ms. Janvier?
Yes, Your Honor. Magistrate Judge Cooper.
Okay.
December 1st of 2020.
All right. Do you want to read into the record the stipulations as it appears on the bond for Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, Your Honor. It is the further order of this court that the defendant shall have no violent contact directly or indirectly by mail, email, pager, telephone, or third person from the person, home, workplace, and immediate family members of any witness, including but not limited to Latrassa Kirkland. Additionally, the defendant must not violate any laws while on bond.
Okay. And what's the date on this case?
Of the case, Your Honor?
What's the date of that bond condition?
December 1st of 2020.
2020?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All right. Officer Smith, can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Gabrielle Smith.
Thank you. And are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you employed?
At Clayton County Police Department.
How long have you been with Clayton County Police Department?
For a little over a year.
And what is your role or title with the Clayton County Police Department?
Yes, I'm a uniformed police officer.
And have you had any particular training to become a police officer?
Yes, ma'am. I completed the police academy, the basic law enforcement training academy in April of this year, and I completed the field training as well in June of this year, June of 2022. My apologies.
And also, have you had any experience with domestic disturbance calls?
Yes, ma'am.
Offhand, would you say about how many you've attended? Just a roundabout number.
Over 200.
And when you reach the house of a call, such as a domestic disturbance, what is it that you do upon your first contact?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, when we respond to a call, we make sure that everyone is in the home is safe at that time. And at that time, we speak with the complainant, the one who's initially given us a call, and we speak to everyone that's in the home that's in reference to why we were called out to the home.
And if you determine that there is an issue, do you at that point take anyone into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you determine if a person may be taken into custody?
So basically, while we're speaking to the complainant, they'll express exactly what happened during the incident, what occurred, and after we can speak with the complainant, we attempt to speak to the person that she is saying that committed the crime. If that person is not there, we speak to the other individuals that's also in the area or who witnessed or observed the incident that occurred and get their testimony as well.
And do you recall if you were working on November 26th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall if you had an occasion to visit 6200 Harvard Court in Morrow, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what, if anything, you observed upon your arrival?
So upon my arrival, when I first arrived to the residence, I observed a witness. I believe it was the individual, the mother of his juvenile child. She was outside and she was very irate and stating that there was an incident that occurred between the individual, Mr. Kirkland, and his mother, who was also inside of the home. So after I spoke with her, I went inside of the home and I spoke with Mrs. Kirkland, and Mrs. Kirkland, she advised of what happened. And I also spoke with, I think his name was Mr. Eric at that time, who was also saying that he was the one who de-escalated the situation. After we were leaving the scene, Mr. Kirkland was arriving back to the residence, and then that's when he expressed to me from his point of view of what occurred between him and his mother.
And after taking the statements of both Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland, I'm sorry, is Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland the person that you spoke with?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after speaking with Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland and Mr. Eric Kirkland, what did you determine?
So I determined that there was an incident, a physical incident that occurred between Mr. Kirkland, which was her son, and her. And they got into a disagreement because of a female juvenile that was in the home, who was Mr. Kirkland's younger sister. An incident that happened, the mom got upset about it. Mr. Kirkland approached the mom, and then the physical altercation started from there.
Okay. Were you able to determine the extent of the physical altercation?
Yeah, so basically the Mrs. Kirkland had physical injuries on her. She was also seen by Clay County Emergency Services. I believe it was like below her neck, and I believe there was one more. I don't recall exactly where that was located on her body. And she stated that when Mr. Kirkland got out of the shower, he was upset and became argumentative, and that's when Mr. Kirkland came in between them to try to stop it, and Mr. Kirkland reached over and hit her.
So just to clarify, Mr. Kirkland, the defendant, was in the shower. He got out of the shower. He went towards the victim in this case, and then Mr. Eric Kirkland stepped in between to de-escalate.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right, because there's a lot of Kirklands.
Kirkland, I'm so sorry. I'm trying.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. At that time, did you?
Yes, so it's located on her body. And she stated that when Mr. Kirkland got out of the shower, he was upset and became argumentative, and that's when Mr. Kirkland came in between them to try to stop it, and Mr. Kirkland reached over and hit her.
So just to clarify, Mr. Kirkland, the defendant, was in the shower. He got out of the shower. He went towards the victim in this case, and then Mr. Eric Kirkland stepped in between to de-escalate.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right, because there's a lot of Kirklands.
Kirkland, I'm so sorry. I'm trying.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. At that time, did you make a determination regarding Mr. Travis Kirkland?
Yes, ma'am. Based off of testimonial from Mr. Eric Kirkland, and then also Ms. LaTrassa Kirkland had the visible injuries on her as well. And then the female juvenile stated that she don't know who hit first, but she think it was her brother. Was her testimony as well.
And did you say you took Mr. Travis Kirkland into custody at that time?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
All right, cross-examination, Ms. Hahn.
Yes, sure. Hi, Ms. Smith. So when you arrived at the scene, you spoke with the victim, correct? I mean, excuse me, the suspect, correct?
Yes. No, not the he wasn't. When I arrived at the scene, he was not at the residence. He left the residence. And as we were leaving, he flagged us down and stopped us, and that's when he told us what happened from there.
Okay. When he told you what happened, he told you that the victim had not told the truth about what happened during the incident. Is that correct?
Yes. He said there was always some ongoing issues between him and his mother, that always was happening, and he don't understand why that she was, you know, saying the things that she was saying.
And he indicated to you that he did not, in fact, have a physical altercation with the victim. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And just to go back, the juvenile witness also indicated that she was not sure that that my client had a physical altercation with the victim. Is that correct?
However, she did indicate, I think it was my brother. Verbatim, that's what she said.
But at first, it indicated that she did not know for sure. Is that correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, does the state wish to reserve this witness, or may Officer Smith be excused?
Officer Smith may be excused, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Officer Smith. You can be excused at this time. Does the state have additional witnesses to call?
No, Your Honor.
All right, does the defense wish to call any witnesses in this case?
Your Honor, if I could conference with Mr. Kirkland again regarding his right to testify.
All right. So, okay, the bond condition, because I think I missed something. I was trying to write down my notes, but the bond condition was set on December 1st of 2020. When did the officer go out on this incident?
November 26th of 2022, Your Honor.
All right. Oh, yeah, I missed that. All right. So, Miss Hahn, I'm going to put you and Mr. At the jail in breakout room number 3. So once you all have had an opportunity to speak, then we'll resume the hearing.
Can you also add Mr. Kamani as well, Your Honor, please?
All right. Mr. Kamani will also go to breakout room number 3, and we'll be back. 3.
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Hahn?
We would like to call Mr. Travis Kirkland.
Okay. Mr. Kirkland?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am. I swear.
All right, you can put your hand out. Now, Mr. Kirkland, I know you've had a discussion with your attorney. Don't tell me what y'all talked about. I don't need to know that. But do you understand that you do not have to testify?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Do you understand that anything that you say during this hearing can be used against you in the case that is still pending against you?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
All right. And do you wish to give testimony at this time?
Yes, ma'am. I sure do.
All right. You've been sworn. Ms. Hahn, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kirkland, do you remember what happened on November 26, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me about. Can you tell me what happened on November 26th?
I was watching my son. At the time, I was 7 months old, and when his mother came through the door and said I need to get in the shower because I stink, and she said both of us need a bath, and so she gave my son a bath, and I hopped in the shower. As me hopping in the shower, his other grandma, my mother-in-law, basically was on the way to pick my son up, and by the time I was in the shower, she brought my baby in the shower and said, "Colin finna go outside. You finna go." So I kissed him goodbye. Long story short, when I kissed him goodbye, I heard my mama.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kirkland. Sorry to interrupt you. You said who went outside?
Shanari Hilliard.
And who was Shanari Hilliard?
That's the mother of my child. My fiance.
Are you married to her?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then she not Shanari Kirkland. She Shamari, whatever her maiden name is.
I don't know what name she told them. I don't know. So I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
I don't know what name she told the officer because I don't know. I just know we're engaged. We're supposed to get married.
What name she's supposed to go by?
Shanari Hilliard. Shanari Hilliard.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Mom.
So, Mr. Kirkland, I interrupted your story, but you were at the part where you said that you had gotten into the shower after suggestion from the mother of your son that you take shower. You can continue from there.
I was in the shower and I heard my mom calling Miracle, Miri. And I said, "Mom, she's probably outside with Nari. That's Shanari." She said,
"Who's Mary?"
"That's my little 8-year-old sister, Miracle Lavelle." When I heard my mom respond, was not go outside with no shoes and coat on. And I said, "I don't know. She outside. I know that would help me with the baby."
I believe at the time.
Okay. And then what happened?
Was
as I hopped out the shower, I dried off in the bathroom. As I dried off in the bathroom, the bathroom door is up on the step. And my mom was still lit up with a broom.
That's the circumstance that.
Miracle And Miracle came right in when I came right out the bathroom. And coming up the steps, my mom was telling her to come on up the steps with the broom in her hand, intending to hit her. Hit her because she didn't have no coat.
Okay. And why did you think that your mom was intending to hit your sister?
Because we don't been in defense before. Me and my older sister come in and Kirkland. And I don't got hit with a broom before. I don't have stitches on my head. So I just know my mom. I just said, Mom, please don't hit her. And I went in my room. Next thing I know, she threatened her to come up the steps. If you don't come up the steps, I'm going to come down there. By the time I got up the steps, I was walking back into the bathroom to brush my teeth.
And how were you feeling at that time?
I was feeling sad for my sister. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what type of mother we have. And my sister has a brain tumor in her head. So I just didn't want nothing to happen to her. She's sensitive already with words. So my mom was already making her cry. By the time she got at the top of the steps, she was crying, real tears. And I said, Mom, please just don't hit her. She didn't mean it. She like, you know better than not going out the door with no coat on, with no shoes on. She went out the door with just socks on than what she had on. So the next thing I know, she hit her across the leg, and she ran in the room. My sister ran in my mom's room. I said, Mom, please don't hit her again, Mom, because my mom walking towards her. I was standing in the bathroom door like this, brushing my teeth. And she told me to shut up. My mom, I repeat, my mom said, you shut up, you worry about your own child. And she like, come Friday, you need to get the fuck out of my house. That's what she told me. And she hit me across the leg.
Is that the end of the altercation?
That's the end of the physical altercation. Then all the rest of the altercation was just words back and forth. When she hit me across the back, I went in my room and threw down my toothbrush on the floor in the laundry room. I went in my room and put on my clothes on the bed.
Understood. So just to clarify, you stated that that your mother was the one that hit you first. Is that what you stated?
Yes, ma'am, she hit me. Yes, ma'am, she hit me. Okay. I did not swing. I didn't. It went. The broom is so cheap. It's okay.
Okay, understood, Mr. Kirkland. And when I'm assuming the police arrived, what did you tell the police when they got there?
I was coming from my neighbor's house down the street, and I seen one police ride by. As I was walking down the street, they rolled right past me. 2 police cars rolled right past me. As I got to the end of the street, there was 1 police car. They wasn't even in front of my house, but one of my neighbors was outside, and they said the police just left my house. That's what they told me.
Mr. Kirkland, so ask you the question again. What did you say? What did you tell the police when they?
I asked the police, did y'all leave 6200 Harper Court? I did not tell the police anything. And that's when she said yes. We're at 62 Harper Court.
So, did you have a conversation with Officer Smith?
I had a conversation with 2 officers.
I'm sorry?
I had a conversation with 2 female officers, ma'am.
Okay. And what did you tell them about the incident?
I told them my mom is going through menopause. She be up and down lines. Sometimes she can get locked. She was sleeping with me and my older sister.
Okay. No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Kirkland, is it? Are you saying that you only had a physical altercation with your mother?
You said what, ma'am?
That you had a physical altercation with your mother?
I did not have anything physical with my mom because the first time I ever been arrested was she lied and said I pushed her on the step, pushed her down the steps. So I never intended nothing. I didn't do nothing but walk back in my room and put on my clothes and I walked out. I was so angry that she hit me.
Thank you. So when your mother asked you not to say anything about your sister, you approached her with a bat. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
A bat in your hand?
No, ma'am.
And when she attempted to hit your sister, you also tried to reach over your mother and hit her in the face. Isn't that correct?
No, ma'am. That's not correct.
So what you're saying today is that even though your mother threatened to put you out of the house, told you to mind your business, she hit you on your back, you didn't do anything.
I left. I stormed out the house. I put on my clothes because I had a towel wrapped around me. I stormed out the house. That's all I did. I stormed out the house. That.
And when you made contact with the police officer, did she ask you what happened?
Yes, and I told her.
Did she tell you why you were under arrest?
She said she believed me. She told me because my mom had some mark on her, and I told her that my mom was on work release from being in a car accident at work. She worked at airport.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions, John.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Hahn?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
All right. No other witnesses for the defense, is that correct?
No other witnesses, Your Honor. No.
Okay, I'll hear argument.
Yes, Your Honor. The state is requesting that the court revoke the bond of Mr. Kirkland. As a primary condition of his bond was to not commit any new crimes. Your Honor, Officer Smith has come before the court and testified that she did arrest Mr. Kirkland. That is a violation of the bond after an extensive investigation for the domestic disturbance call that she received, Your Honor, as a condition of his bond. It was to not have any violent contact with Ms. Latressa Kirkland, which the officer observed the physical bruising on Ms. Kirkland, in addition to the witness statements that she conducted, that she received during her investigation, leading her in her expertise as a police officer to determine that it was Mr. Kirkland who had injured Ms. Kirkland. Additionally, as I said, stated, Your Honor, the condition of the bond was no violent contact with Ms. Latressa Kirkland, as well as to not violate any new laws. And Mr. Travis Kirkland was rearrested on November 26th of 2022 after that bond condition while he was still out on bond, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Hahn?
Yes, Your Honor. At this point, our client has been only accused of a crime. No crime has been proven. The only witness that the state has put up was not present at on the date of the incident, only after. The only witness to the crime to the alleged crime is our client, and he was there and has testified that he did not, in fact, have any violent contact with the alleged victim. The evidence does show that he did, in fact, do what he said, and that he left the scene after a verbal altercation and his mother striking him. He left the scene because the officer even testified to the fact that Mr. Kirkland was not in the house at the time that that she arrived. Furthermore, my client does have somewhere else to go, so he's not a flight risk. He has another place to stay if the state if the court would be comfortable with no contact at all with the victim. My client can stay at another resident. He's gone about a year without having any violent contact whatsoever with the alleged victim in this case. So we ask that the motion be denied.
All right, so this case sticks out to me because I think I addressed this when the initial bond condition was done at arraignment. I believe it was noted that there was a no violent contact provision, but the bond condition should have said no contact, and I think it was altered by the magistrate at that time. But I believe the policy has been reinstated that the initial bond condition for a violent misdemeanor should be no contact as opposed to no violent contact. And so I addressed that with the Chief Judge. So I wanted to put that on the record because I believe that this is the case that brought that up to me and made me make that distinction. So from the beginning, Mr. Kirkland's bond condition should have said no contact, but it said no violent contact. So he was within the bounds of the bond condition to be back in contact with his mother and in that household, if that's what he needed at the time. The issue that I have is that the witness who spoke on behalf of the state was not present at the time that it happened. And there were at least 3 witnesses who could have spoken about what actually happened other than the defendant, Mr. Kirkland. There was an Eric Kirkland, Latressa Kirkland, and the minor juvenile who, I mean, granted, she's young, and so the court would have preferred testimony other than hers, but there were people who were actually there who were witnesses to the altercation who were not brought to testify in this case. And for the court to revoke someone's pretrial status and to put them in jail for pretrial detention, then I got to go a little step further. I got to hear enough to convince me that this person's actions were in violation of the conditions of bond. What I heard from both sides was a physical altercation did occur, but never did I hear, even from the police officer, that Mr. Kirkland, the defendant, was the aggressor. I heard Mr. Eric Kirkland say the officer was told he stepped in to de-escalate the situation. Miss Latressa Kirkland had bruises on her, but I don't know where those, other than there was a physical fight, which could have been started by Miss Latressa Kirkland. I am unclear. And because I'm unclear, and I feel like there's more to the story, the court is not going to revoke the bond at this time. I will, however, modify the bond condition so that from this point forward, and I need this in writing in an order, Mr. Kirkland is to have no contact with any of the individuals listed, the juvenile minor, Miss Latrassa Kirkland and Miss Eric Kirkland. He's to have no contact and he's not to go back to that incident location. But the motion to revoke bond is denied. If bond exists in this case, Mr. Kirkland will have the ability to make bond in this case. Mr. Kirkland, you have stated that there's a very chaotic situation in this household. That is not one that you should be in or that your child should be in. How old are you, sir?
I'm only 21 now. I just turned 21 November 18th.
Okay, number one, don't have no more children. Condoms are cheaper than child care or child support. You are not in a position to have any more babies. Get you some condoms. We clear?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks it's funny, except you got a baby out there that you can't take care of.
You're right, because I'm in here.
Not just because you're in here, you were living with your mama when the baby was over there. So if you were in a position to take care of your child would be in a household, you would be taking care of that household, and you could possibly be in that household with your child. But as it stands, you live with your mama, she living wherever she living, taking care of the baby. If you're a mature adult who's going to be a father, that comes with some responsibility. That responsibility is to provide for your child. You can't provide for your child. Get you some condoms so we don't have this happen again, number one. And number two, start on the path to being the responsible father you need to be to this child. We clear? Because you know already the situation in your mama's house is chaotic. You know this. And first of all, it also seems crowded because it's you there, your mama there, your brother there, your little sister there. I don't need you to cry. I need you to man up. If you're going to have a family, you need to take care of that family. Separate from your mama if you know that there's always something negative going on in that space. Stop running back to her to provide a household for you. You grown enough to have a child, and you need to be grown enough to take care of yourself and that child, and the child's mother if she needs it. We clear? All this crying ain't doing nothing for me.
Yes, ma'am. We're clear. We're totally clear.
I'm gonna need you to stop crying and get it together. Crying ain't gonna help you prepare for this child. Crying ain't gonna help you take care of yourself. You know that your mama's house is chaotic and you don't do well there. So what I need you to do is stop going back there. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
If you go back to your mama's house or have any contact with your mama, I will revoke your bond. We clear?
Yes, ma'am. We're totally clear.
Okay. So since we know that that is not a good situation, get your mind straight to get your child into a better situation where you can be the provider and protector for your child. Are we clear?
Yes, ma'am. We're
You can't go to your mama's house and know that that's a bad place for you and then whine and complain because you get arrested at your mama's house. If she lied on you before, which is what you said, then what makes you think she won't do it again? Common sense. That's what I need you to do is embrace your common sense. We clear? All right. Now, the order, like I said, is going to be that you're not to have any contact with her. No contact with your mama, no contact with Eric Kirkland, no contact with the minor female, Miracle Kirkland, or whatever her last name is, and no going to that location. Not you, not your baby mama. Nobody goes to that location. We clear?
But Colin my son has things. How we go about that? I'm just asking.
Your baby's mother can apply to the sheriff's office to go to there with the sheriffs to get stuff for your son. But if she don't need the stuff, if she's done without it up to this point, then she can leave it there and keep it moving. We understand? Don't engage. All right? Stop moving because you know you're going to have difficulty. All right? So I need that order. Number one. And just so you know, sir, menopause is not something that makes people crazy. That's a myth. If your mama is acting in that way, she acting in that way. She can live her without menopause. It might make you hot, but it ain't gonna make you hurt somebody.
She told me that.
I'm telling you from experience. I ain't hit nobody yet. May have wanted to, but I ain't hit nobody yet. We clear? So stop using menopause as an excuse for violence. That's a new one for me. All right. Anything else?
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
My father just passed away December 9th, and his friend this Friday. And I only have $208 without my baby mama. So can we try to lower my bond?
Ms. Pond will bring that to me if she maybe she can discuss it with the state. Otherwise, we can discuss that at a different time, sir. I can't. You have a bond set. That's what I'm willing to do.
Mr. Kirkland, I will schedule a jail visit and we can talk then. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Just
All right.
Sure. Yeah, we'll talk then.
All right. So unless there's something else on my calendar.